Amir Khan, the gift that keeps on giving. He's now saying that Kell Brook doesn't have a chin and that his punch resistance is gone completely. Now, while he might be right, it's possible that Kell Brook's punch resistance has gone. I'm not saying it definitely has, but it's possible. If you look at that Terence Crawford fight, that doesn't appear to be the same level of punch resistance that Kell Brook had in the past. Okay, so Khan might be onto something. It's just funny to see a fighter who is notorious for having poor punch resistance accusing his rival of having no chin. Right? It's just ironic. It's funny. Now, I see some Amir Khan fans who turn up in the comment section of my videos getting really upset, accusing me of bias. Some of them even accusing me of racism. I mean, people just, these kind of people don't understand what my channel is about. It's not about jumping on the bandwagon of one fighter and only supporting them and always criticizing their rivals and never giving them any credit. That's not what my channel's about. My channel's about giving every fighter a fair shake. Now, of course, certain fighters deserve more criticism than others due to their actions and their performances and so on. But if those fighters redeem themselves, then I'm going to be the first one to praise them for it, right? So when it comes to Amir Khan, again, a lot of these Khan fans have got it seriously twisted and think that I dislike the guy. Khan has been one of my favorite British fighters over the past 5-10 years. And I've said this many times, because he provides pure entertainment, not only in the ring, but outside the ring, often unintentionally. So there's definitely no hate here for Khan. I think Khan's been great for British boxing. And I enjoy him trolling Kell Brook. Now, the punch resistance of Amir Khan is another thing that some of these fanboys will try and check me on. They claim that Khan doesn't have a bad chin. He's got a bad defense. Well, since when were those things mutually exclusive? Since when did you either have a bad chin or a bad defense and you can't have both at the same time? You can have both at the same time. And Amir Khan does. Now, obviously, we're talking in relative terms here. Khan's got a better defense than bog standard journeyman might have, although some people would debate that. But I'm going to say he's got a better defense than many fighters in boxing. But if you're talking about championship level fighters, Khan's defense isn't great. And when you combine a less than stellar defense with poor punch resistance, you get the kind of knockout defeats, but also the multiple knockdowns that Khan has suffered many times in his career. That's what you get. Okay. So, you know, and as far as his defense, it's a matter of him not being very defensively aware, defensively astute. Khan is a guy, as we saw when he was with Virgil Hunter, who needs to be coached through every second of a fight. He doesn't have the same level of ring IQ. He doesn't have the same instincts as, let's say, an Andre Ward or a Floyd Mayweather, who know, you know, once they've learned it, they know where they can be in the ring to be safe, when it's safe to throw shots, when they should not throw shots, when they should cover up. They know these things. Khan isn't at that level in terms of ring intelligence. So he makes mistakes. He puts himself in dangerous positions when he shouldn't, when he doesn't have to. You see, that's where Khan is deficient in terms of defense. It's situational awareness that he, you know, is where he's lacking. So, yeah, anyway, I found it a funny video. Khan trolling Brook. I hope it continues. I was talking in a separate video about how the build up to Eubank Jr. Liam Williams is slightly disappointing at the moment in terms of a lack of excitement, but the Kell Brook Amir Khan fight, I like the way this is building. I like the way Khan is continuing to troll the guy, to wind him up, and the way Khan appears to be having fun with all this. He's relishing getting under Kell Brook's skin. Also, I want to talk about the preparation for the fight. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Kell Brook back with Dominic Ingle? Because he's kind of had an on-off relationship, if that's the right term to use, with Dominic Ingle, where he's trained with him for some fights and then he's moved away, different trainers for other fights. I think he's back with Dominic Ingle for this fight. Could be wrong. And, you know, that's probably the best thing for him is the familiarity and a guy who's going to get him in the absolute tip-top condition. For Amir Khan, he's training with Bomac, Terence Crawford's trainer, and actually training and sparring with Crawford. That's an interesting thing for Khan to do because that was obviously his last big fight against Terence Crawford and he was soundly beaten and quit. So it's a way of him facing his demons, you know, by going and training with Terence Crawford and Bomac. And I have to big him up on that. I have to say that that is a brave, bold, and perhaps very smart move. Maybe he's taken a leaf out of Derek Chisora's book when Chisora hired David Haye as his manager for all those fights. Slightly different reasons because Chisora wasn't sparring with David Haye or anything like that, but it's still a way of confronting your demons rather than running from them. And Amir Khan is doing that with Terence Crawford, training with him and hoping to learn from the guy who really beat him up. Not only beat him up, schooled him in there. Khan, going into the Terence Crawford fight, said that he'd never lost to a boxer. All the times he'd lost is when he was exchanging with strong fighters and what have you, but he'd never been outboxed before. Against Terence Crawford, he was outboxed. And he was beaten in every department and forced to quit. So he's perhaps thinking, I need to learn some boxing from this guy. I've never been outboxed before, so I need to go visit him and try and get him to teach me the stuff that he did to me. You know, that kind of thing. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about Amir Khan's latest remarks about Kell Brook having no chin. Do you think it's true? And do you think that that will manifest in the fight? Amir Khan is a notoriously fast starter. Kell Brook is quite a fast starter as well, but Khan's a really fast starter. He's dropped a lot of people early from Marcus Maidana, Lamont Peterson, and so on. And if Kell Brook is very upright. He's a guy who doesn't have much upper body movement. Khan is upright too, but Brook even more so. He's got a very stiff back, right? It's like got a rod in his spine. And if he starts a little slower than Khan and Khan's able to get those fast shots off and maybe shock Brook with the speed early on, if Brook's punch resistance is as weak as Amir Khan seems to think it is, then perhaps Khan could do a job on him early. You know, I think anything could happen in this fight right here because both guys are over the hill. What we don't know is who's more over the hill. Is it Khan or is it Brook? I can't wait to find out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Before I go, I also want to give a special shout out to Wild Design. They are an award-winning Irish design store and gift shop over there in Cork. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, and their website at wilddesign.ie. Make sure you check them out and support local businesses.